Previously on the Dollar Diaries podcast.
Because they started marketing and branding before any of the other Emirates. Now, alhamdulillah, everybody knows Abu Dhabi, they know Sharjah.
Yeah.
Back then, it's sad to say, but when people would ask me, where are you from? I would say United Arab Emirates, UAE, and they're like, where is that? I'm like, Dubai. Oh, Dubai, okay. And then the unfortunate thing is that the next thing they would say, they go, oh, Las Vegas of the Middle East.
Okay, that's the worst description of Dubai. That's the worst description of Dubai, honestly.
Yeah, and
you also look at from a marketing perspective, right? You think about what it kind of does to this, right? Like, yes, you can go to Starbucks, right? You can get a coffee, pretty decently priced coffee. But do I just want to go be one of their million customers a day? Or do I want to go and have that experience, right? I think the younger generation's also looking at valuing experience more than, quick in and out sort of a thing. Right. And I think that's probably has to do with a lot of factors. One being that everything's stable now, right? There is no rush. There's no this thing. Everything's there as it is. And that security of the country is there. So that also kind of plays a role into that innate ability to, promote their own culture and everything, right?
Yes.
But if you look at a company on the other hand, like instead of a country, you look at a company. Yeah. A company could have a history. Company could have a culture. But at the end of the day, a company is a company. Like Al Yousuf Group is a company. It's not as diverse of a culture as the UAE as a whole, right? So when you try to implement what a grand vision is in terms of like a small company, how do you go about that? Because at the end of the day, when I'm looking at an advertisement for Yamaha, it's just an advertisement for Yamaha. It doesn't give me that sense of like, I should go get a Yamaha right now, right? Yeah. But when I look at my dad, for example, he was in India. He had a Yamaha RX-9, I think, right? And he was so into the bike, like he was really
RX-100.
RX-100, yeah. RX-100, and he was so into the bike. Like when he got married, he was very disappointed. He had to get rid of it. So that had even though India back then, it was not like marketing, but that personal connection was there with a bike. But over here, I just look like, I drive around Sheikh Zayed Road, see so many different advertisements, so many this thing. I scroll on Instagram, so many advertisements. But to me, I have that innate, I know this is an ad and I don't pay attention to it. Or even if I Google search, I know whatever first result comes in, it's an ad. I'm not going to click it, right? So at least I can speak for myself. I don't know if it's the case with you as well, right? I feel like there is a general thing in our generation that, it's a company that is promoting something. Yeah. Do I really care? Not much, right? How do you tackle that issue? Like, how do you create that connection with your brand, connection with your company, connection with what you have to offer?
Right. You're absolutely right. I mean, sometimes you need to advertise the product as a product, but to stand out is very difficult because you see so many advertisements on daily basis popping on your phone, in the radio, on the TV, in the streets, everywhere. So it's really difficult to stand out. I would say, going back to the first point I mentioned, is to become the influencer, is to create some kind of a feeling that you give to your audience. Create a society or a shared interest. This attaches your potential customers to you because they know they are going to get certain feeling or a certain kind of entertainment, or
they associate themselves.
Exactly. They will associate themselves with your brand. Yeah. So unfortunately, you still have to do that traditional product advertisement. Yeah. But in between, you need to also make them feel like, okay, what's so special about buying this bike or this wave runner is because I get this kick out of it. It's sort of like what Harley has created. Yeah. Harley is not just a bike.
It's a lifestyle sort of.
Exactly. Harley bike riders have a certain way of, they look a certain way, they act a certain way. So it's the same thing with any other product. You have to create that feeling. Of course, now because I'm in charge of the Yousuf computer and telecommunication, which is mostly B2B, it's really difficult to create that because we focus on contact center solutions, like when you call a bank or any company and they say like dial 1 for this, dial 2 for that. That's what we provide, and we provide software and hardware.
So you're the one to blame for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We're trying to make your life easier. But that's a very corporate, it's a very dry product to create an atmosphere and ambience. So now in my current position, what I try to focus on is not to create a society and lifestyle and all that. It's to create trust and expertise. So as a system integrator, we are not unique. We are not selling an exclusive solution. Why would someone come to a Yousuf Computer and Telecommunication? Is because of the trust and the expertise they have in the market. That in a way is creating a different advertisement, rather than just to say, oh, we sell this solution, we have these IP phones, we have these cameras, and so on.
And especially like the product line also kind of determines completely, right? Like you said, if you do CCTV cameras, you do telecommunication system, who do you even market to, right? You're marketing to another company, and it becomes like a full, like a B2B sales kind of a problem.
Exactly.
And that, like, how did you find that difference, right? Like from going to Yamaha, which you can do a lot more creative things with, like you can promote a lifestyle, you can promote this, that, having that much creative control, to going to a slightly, no offense, but a very boring product, right? How does that transition, like what made you feel like that is the right step? Is it more challenging, or is it because you're tired of being creative?
No, I mean, it was an internal decision to decentralize the marketing department. And so then I had to focus, to shift my focus, let's say, into a specific division. It was more fun marketing a B2C product, especially Yamaha and the accessories and all that stuff. This is a different way of challenge, let's say, Yousuf Computer and Telecommunication, because I come from civil engineering background and marketing, and now this is an IT. So I am enjoying it because I'm learning new things. At the same time, it's a challenge to market such product. It is kind of boring, I would have to admit, when it comes to marketing this kind of product. But this makes it more challenging as well. So now even the platforms where we advertise has changed. So previously we focused more on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and so on. Now we focus more on LinkedIn, writing blogs and so on, because that's where you can show your expertise and experience. And that's where companies look. So it is different, but it's nevertheless entertaining as well.
For me, like whenever I see the blogs from other companies and things, like there is this innate sense in me that this is, just corporate propaganda, that they're trying to sell me something on this. I'm going to read, like if there is a list of 5 cool things you should buy, the 4th thing is definitely their product, or the first thing is definitely their product. I know inside like that it is. But do you think that is necessarily a problem, that people can identify an advertisement as an advertisement, even if it's inside a blog? Or do you think it's, on a grand scheme of things, it's not a really big problem?
No, it is a problem. I have to admit, most of the companies, they rely on the marketing team to create content for them. Marketing team is not specialized in your product. Let's say, for example, Yousuf Computer and Telecommunication, CCTV cameras. The marketing person doesn't know much about CCTV cameras. He can't write an article about that. It's going to be very general. It's going to be boring. He might use ChatGPT
about the SEO. Yeah,
he might, resort to something that is very bland. And then me as a an expert in the field scrolling through LinkedIn or through a blog, and when I see an article like that, it's just gonna make me less interested in that company. So what we talked about localizing or emiratizing marketing is the same thing when it comes to B2B content creation. You need to make sure that an expert is writing content for you, because if it's someone who doesn't know much about that field, it's just a waste of time and money. So if you are a company in a specific field, please make sure that if your marketing team doesn't know that, they are going to an expert. And that's one of the problems I noticed in many of the companies and organizations in the UAE, is that they don't pay attention to that. They just hire a copywriter, someone who can write something nicely, and that's it. No, go to an expert. And now it's really easy to find many people, many skills online you can find.
And how do you think that, like, I would say it as like a
Stitching things seamlessly.
not stitching things seamlessly. I was looking for another word for half doing it.
Oh,
Right? They're
Right.
not very completely doing it. They're just doing it for the sake of doing it. How do you think that affects the budget of a marketing department? Like, how much of that effort is going to go to waste? And what is the likelihood that that would actually convert into success?
It wouldn't affect the budget. I mean, you're still spending
Not the
money.
budget, the usage
but
of the budget.
You wouldn't see a return on investment.
profitability is
Yeah,
low.
and that would make people don't believe less in marketing. They're like, oh, it's just a waste of money. We're just putting, either they're just spending it because they have to spend on marketing. It's like part of their KPI or something.
Yeah.
Or it's because there is budget, so let's spend it on marketing. But they wouldn't see the real benefit out of it. And that's a shame. If you're spending money, you might as well see something.
Yeah.
So if you spend it in the right direction, then you would see the benefit. But most of the companies, like you said, because they have to do marketing, they have to do something. I've seen many of the marketing activities, not only like blogs and articles, even participating in an exhibition or creating an event. You feel like I think they're just trying to spend the budget before end of the year.
That's also the thing, right? Like, we look at ROI, for example, like you spend this much, you get this much.
Right.
But a lot of people, like, just for the sake of doing it, they do it. They don't see any ROI. And then it kind of makes you question the craftsmanship, the art, and the skill required to build beautiful things and market beautiful things. And that completely gets swept under the rug because of terrible things. And a lot of these terrible things are kind of coming out because of AI, right? AI generated images, text, everything.
Right.
How have you approached AI in your organization? Like, what have you thought about AI, and whether are you for it, against it, or somewhere in between?
That's a good question. Tricky questions.
It's a tricky question.
Yeah.
I'm not against using AI, but you have to be careful how to use it. I have to admit, I'm not successful in using AI in creating marketing content up to this point. I've actually used ChatGPT to create content for my LinkedIn posts. So I write articles from time to time and I post them on LinkedIn.
I've noticed, yeah.
I hope they're nice articles.
Yeah, they're really good.
Thank you. So what I did is I went back to one of the really old articles and I put it in ChatGPT and asked it to create posts using the article itself. It did create posts using all the, let's say, the right things, like it placed the hashtags, the emojis, the text was flashy, but it was the most boring post I've ever seen. And I didn't get any engagement out of it. So I know marketeers who have used AI in a successful way. I haven't mastered that yet. We haven't mastered it in my company, I have to admit. But if you know how to use it, why not? I took a class once in marketing, digital marketing, and the instructor basically said marketing is stealing ideas and rephrasing them to make them more interesting or related to your product. And in a way, it's true.
And I think like most people can notice when something's written by AI, right?
Yeah.
Like we know something's wrong about it, or like when we see images generated by AI, everybody has like a seventh finger for some reason.
For instance, even like there's this thing like when you slide into the recruiters DMs to like basically get a job. A lot of the people, I mean, even I initially started doing it with AI and I didn't get any responses, and I made myself look more personable and more down to earth. Basically, AI can't do that, and that's like the cognitive dissonance between what happens when AI writes something and
the uncanny valley, the Polar Express uncanny valley.
So,
not just that, right? Like especially when we are dealing with a different language per se, like Arabic with many dialects, many very diverse population. You can't have like that again, the same English approach to things. English, right? Everything has to be very peculiar and very to the point, which AI
concise
can unfortunately not do as of yet, at least.
True.
Right? The question comes in, let's say we have a future where AI can do everything splendidly.
Yes.
And the need for human marketers are decreasing.
Okay.
How would you feel about and I'm guessing this is just a general course of action, right? How would you feel about letting go of marketers in charge of AI? Would you do that? Would you do it would you do it willingly, or would you be kind of pushed into getting rid of people and opting for AI?
You mean like a completely AI operated marketing team?
Maybe not completely, like half. Or maybe,
for example, imagine an autopilot Tesla. You just need to do the thing.
Right.
Or sort of like, let's say, how big is your marketing team that you work with, roughly?
Before, when I was the director of marketing, the team was about 6 people.
Okay.
Yeah. So you mean like if we'd reduce it to 3?
Let's say 4.
And or 4, and you
bring in more AI.
The rest using AI. If AI can do the same job, assuming that it has advanced enough and we know how to use it properly, I wouldn't mind, to be honest. I just feel that there's a certain aspect of creativity that AI can never do. And marketing is all about creativity. It's just like art. Now AI can do art as well, but it's still different when it's a human created art.
No, largely because like AI trains on human created art, and it can't come up with new things, right? It can't.
Yes.
It's the ability to create new things is a very human
I also think it's like difficult to teach AI emotions. So like we advertise, I mean, as advertisers, we sort of attract people who look at these advertisements.
Feelings and emotions.
We bank on them like getting these emotions across, and I don't know if AI can do that, to be frank.
But this is a natural thing to happen. For instance, now in my division, we don't have a graphic designer for our artwork, because there are so many different softwares that non-graphic designers can still use. So it has reduced maybe the talent required in the marketing team, but I would say the essence of the team still needs to be human, because you still need that human connection. You still need that guidance, let's say.
What would sort of justify, right? What would be the justification factor? Let's, again, a very hypothetical scenario. You have to let go of 2 people in charge of AI. What would be the, like in financial terms, what would justify it? Like how much money should you possibly save in order to get rid of people and opt for AI?
I don't think I would measure it in money saving. I would measure it in tasks. So if an AI program or a software can do, let's say, 60-70% of the tasks that a person can do, then I would probably just resort to using the AI instead of hiring that person.
Here's the tricky question, right? If that person can take a little extra time,
Right.
little extra effort, and come up with something so brilliant versus AI that can just do things on time, which one would you prefer? And
It's a tough question. Probably if I don't like the person, I would just saving time and doing a proper job is very important. So yeah, I mean, if the person can evolve and take on more responsibilities, probably they would still be important part of the team. But if their job, like I said, can be done by a robot or a software or something, and then they don't have any added benefit. So I mean, you always try to find some other way that they can contribute to the team, because at the end of the day, humans are very creative creatures, and they can come up with different things. If not related to their main task, they can do some other tasks as well. If you have, for example, mastered ChatGPT to the extent that it can write for you an article for your blog and posts, then maybe you can focus on strategy. You can focus on branding, or focus on creating a different, line of or direction for your brand. It gives you more time, let's say.
So we looked at marketing from a UAE perspective, then your company perspective. Now personal branding, right?
Yeah.
What is different between the three different things? Like what is personal branding, and how that's different compared to how you do marketing for a country, for a company, and for yourself?
The basics don't change much, I would say. But when it comes to personal branding, you need to be crystal clear where you want to be, how you want to portray yourself. Because there are so many professionals in the market. Why would someone go to Mr. X versus Mr. Y? You need to show your expertise, and at the same time, how would you add to the other person connecting with you? It's not easy, because now it's an open market. So you're not only competing with people in your country, in the UAE or in Dubai, you're competing with people all across the world. And to stand out, it's very difficult. So you have to find that unique edge, focus on it. At the same time, be clear of how you can add more.
And to somebody who's starting out their personal branding journey, what advice would you give them?
Experiment with many things. Don't just try one channel. Try different things at the same time. Try different activities. I became active on LinkedIn because of COVID. We were sitting at home and working from home as well. So there was more time. And I didn't have any kids at that during that time. So I started writing things on LinkedIn, and people were also on LinkedIn because they are also stuck at home. So there was more engagement at that time and became more active. My profile became more active. Then I thought, okay, let me create a website for myself, and so on. So now, alhamdulillah, there's no COVID, but there are so many different options out there. So try different channels, try different tones, different languages, different approaches. One of them would click. And when it clicks, then try to build on that. It takes time, it takes energy. You have to be consistent. That's really important. And try not to copy somebody else.
Which is what we see quite a lot of things, right? Like, especially on like people who are specializing in short form content, personal branding, but short form content.
Yeah.
They typically, reuse the same hooks, reuse the things. And the sad fact is those things actually work, right? Like that particular line stops your attention for some reason. Even if it's a 30-second video, that stops your attention. But over a period of time, if I scroll through TikTok, there's like 50 different people giving me terrible financial advices. Oh, you should invest in this crypto, that crypto, this crypto, that crypto. And for some reason, I'm still watching them. I know it's complete garbage. I know it's absolutely terrible advice. And I know I don't have to trust this person, but I still, for some reason, it captures. Well, I'm like, you know what? Let me hear it out. Right. So how do you stand out while still committing to some of those not traditional, like a more proven hooks and proven strategies? How do you still remain unique? And
there is nothing wrong about doing a traditional approach. It's like what we mentioned earlier about the traditional product marketing. You need to advertise a car or a bike. So you need to do the traditional approach as well if you're doing personal branding. So you need to have a social media page. You have to write. You have to speak. But every one of us has something unique about them, whether it's something from their background or expertise or skill that they can build on and integrate it with the classic normal approaches.
I'm just thinking, like, you scrolling through crypto, like
there's plenty. I can show it to you.
Yeah,
like,
man. And you like reading them?
No, it's like a short 30-minute.
But I think that's just the instant gratification monkey in you, like wanting to read more and more and more.
Yeah, but it's also like, I know for a fact, like, what he's saying is wrong.
Yeah.
He probably has like an early access to that particular token.
Okay.
So he's going to rug pull for sure.
Yeah.
But there's something in me like, you know what? Let me hear it out. Let me see what
he's saying.
Yeah, what he's saying. I just want to hear the full pitch out.
Let me find out where he's lying.
There's a lot of those coming out as well, right? Like because the instance of crypto being so high, everybody's just, finding unique ways to scam people, unique ways to defraud people. There were certain things like, as a concept, I'm very intrigued by crypto, right? Like,
have you invested in crypto?
No, hell no. I had like a $10.
Is that a thank God or is that a...
I
didn't either, to be honest.
I purchased $10 worth of Dogecoin just for a joke.
Okay.
But it just remains as it is. Like, I haven't bothered to look at it. But no, like, as a concept, yes, it's pretty cool, like there's a international currency that works everywhere. No particular person controls it. But the reality is like that one, like a central bank controlling it, the UAE central bank controlling it, or the US Fed controlling it. That's what gives money that legitimate nature. And you remove that, you're just dealing with like a...
I think it's more scary with cryptocurrency. I mean, one tweet can bring it down, or
it's very volatile. Like if I was paying for Starbucks with crypto, like today, like I go in, I pay $20 worth for coffee. Like I come out, I pay $200 for a coffee. Right?
That would like give me like a heartache. Like imagine, oh my God, did I just spend a Bitcoin on coffee in 2012? Like Jesus.
That's what this thing happened, right? So the rap artist 50 Cent.
Yeah.
50 Cent, if I'm not wrong. So he used to sell albums for Bitcoins when it was like really low. And that now he's like very rich off that because of the appreciation in value. Yeah. So some people got lucky.
Yeah.
A lot of people saw the lucky people and like they put in money a little too late and lost everything. So, and I think that's common, not just with crypto, in investment in general.
Exactly.
Right? You could buy like a beautiful home, but nobody buys your home. You're down underwater. You buy stocks, same thing. So it's just
you have to do your due diligence.
You do your due diligence, pray 5 times and
hope for the best.
Hope for the best. You don't have anything in your control. It's a very common, like I don't think, like, especially when we are doing the personal branding, the influencers who deal with finance, right? They are extremely, extremely careless when it comes to this advice, right? Like it's that you don't control the financial market. You don't control. It's basically a feelings meter for people with a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right. There is no analysis, no data that can 100% give you that this is what's going to happen. And a lot of people just conveniently forget to mention that fact that this can all completely go.
True.
Hell, haywire. So
it's because if they say that, then
what are they adding?
You lose that wow factor.
Correct.
And again, like if someone is working on their personal branding, everybody now wants to become an influencer. If everybody's an influencer, who's going to watch them?
Mm.
Who's going to follow them if everybody's an influencer? That doesn't make sense.
Yes.
At least you have to be unique in your approach.
Yeah.
But also, people don't want to be brutally honest in their videos and say like, oh, I had Wasta and that's why that's how I became famous, or that's how I became rich.
Yeah.
Or I did something else and that brought me to this, you know?
It's always like a third factor, right? Like, yes, you work hard, you had right ideas, but the third factor is always somewhere there, right? Either you got lucky, or your parents were helping you, or you had like a network or a connection here and there. That third factor, everybody conveniently just, you know what?
Plus, it's also uncontrollable.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
not-
uncontrollable.
It's
You
not
can't-
in your control.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But regardless, I feel like it should be mentioned, right? Hey,
Yeah.
my dad gave me like a $700,000 check for me to start investing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's probably an information you should tell people before you advise.
And that's why you have to be careful the content you watch, because it can affect you negatively as well. Like I faced that when our first baby boy was born. There was lots of parenting content on social media, and some of it makes you feel really bad. You feel like you're the worst parent ever.
Thank you for coming.
Thank
It
you.
was
Thank
a
you very
wonderful conversation. We
I
learned
really enjoyed
quite
it.
a
Thank
lot.
you so much.
I
No
hope you
worries.
weren't tired by the end of
No,
it.
no. It's
Because
really fun.
my eyes are like, oh my god.
We had
Yeah.
we recorded another
Another
episode
episode as well.
early
so
as well.
okay.
So it was like 2
2
episodes.
episodes.
Oh, so
Usually we
That's
have
why you
more
guys-
members, so we switch. But today everybody's
So
conveniently
it's just the
absent.
3 of us.
no, but mashallah, I think you did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for coming.
Thank you for
Thanks.
coming.
Thank
How
you
was
so
your
much.
first podcast experience?
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's nice. Now I know why
You
people
wanna
want
start your
podcasts.
own?
Yeah.
See?
I'll do my own
We'll
as
hook you
well.
up with the setup. Yeah, we'll talk to Sham.
All right, perfect. Funnily, when you mentioned Wasta, right? So the guy who hooked us up with this, his company's name is Wasta.ai.
No way.
Yeah, and he's the one who hooked us up with this
Yeah.
place. So shout out to Sham as well.
Nice. Thank you for the wasta.
All right, see you. Bye
See you.
bye.